Welcome to Discovering Your Mission, where we unlock the journeys of leaders making a difference. I'm your host, Dr. Mordecai Brownlee, and today's guest is someone whose story continues to inspire across generations of learners and leaders. Joining us today is Dr. Annette Parker, president of South Central College and a nationally recognized voice in workforce development. From the factory floor at General Motors to the highest levels of higher education, Dr. Parker's mission-driven journey is a powerful example of transformation, perseverance, and purpose. In today's episode, you'll hear how one decision to return to college changed the trajectory of her life and how she's since spent her career helping others do the same. Whether you're an aspiring leader, educator, or someone seeking inspiration for your next chapter, this conversation is packed with wisdom you don't want to miss. Let's dive in. Greetings, everyone. Once again, it's Dr. Mordecai here for Discovering Your Mission, and I am excited to have someone on the show that I've been looking up to for years, Dr. Annette Parker. She currently serves as the president of South Central College, and I am super excited to learn from her on today and to thank her for her time. Thank you so much, Dr. Parker. How you doing?
Good. How are you, Dr. Mordecai?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for making time on the show. And so many questions to ask you. I'm going to do my best to ask you as many questions as I possibly can within the time that we have. And so let's just start here. You've been serving as president at your current institution since July of 2013. But you've had this entire journey that even goes back to you starting your career at GM. How did kind of walk us along? How did we go from working in General Motors to being a college president? How did you know that this was your calling?
Well, I'll share the story, and it's very interesting because I had no idea that I would be where I am today. So let me just say that, I started at General Motors at a very young age, being a Michigander. If you didn't think you were able to go to college, first generation, that's kind of the thing that you would do is go work for the auto industry, right? It's the home of the auto industry in Michigan. And so that's what I did. I kind of re-met my husband there because really we grew up together and our parents grew up together. But being in a big place, we kind of really made friends, became best friends, got married, started having children, and we saw the downturn of the automotive industry. And so like most Americans, you sit around the dinner table at night and you talk about everything that's going on in your world. And so one of the things that I did was we talked about, would we really be able to retire from General Motors? And it felt like maybe that wasn't going to be a possibility. And so we said, well, somebody needs to go back to school. And my husband said, well, you go and I'll help take care of the kids and win the bread. And that's how it all got started. So, I was in my mid to early 20s and thought I was too old to go back to a community college. Now, this is a story I tell my community college students all the time, right? Because we know that that's the age of our students, generally. And so I went back to Lansing Community College, and I love their motto. It's where success begins, because that's where my success began. And I really accelerated there as a student. And one day, the day that I was supposed to graduate, the faculty in the machine shop asked me, Annette, we've been watching you mentor other students. Do you want a job in the shop? And so I said, sure. Now I'm laid off, Dr. Mordecai, at the time from General Motors. Wow. So I said, sure. So then I went upstairs to the construction and engineering department to get my associate degree audit signed. And the dean up there asked me the same question. He says, do you want a job tutoring students in a drafting lab? And so I always joke because what I went home and told my husband, Jeff, is I got 2 jobs, right? Now, we all know as community college leaders that you can't have 2 jobs as a student employee, right? And so about a week later, they were processing my paperwork and they said, you can't do that. can't have two student employee jobs. Do you want a promotion? And so I said, yeah. And so a week later, I get promoted to a lab tech. Okay. And then about 6 months later, they had an emergency. One of our faculty was going to be late for class. And really, I had been to Michigan State University to apply for engineering school. Okay. And they said, can you go up and hold down Marv's class? He's going to be late. So I went into that class and I started helping students. And I said, oh, I love this. And it changed the trajectory of my career because I decided that I was going to go be a teacher. And so I pursued my bachelor's degree in secondary education from Ferris State University. And then once you're certified in the state of Michigan to teach high school kids, you got to do 18 additional credits, right, to keep your certification. So I pursued that. I got a full scholarship for my master's degree. And so I said, okay, well, let's finish that. And during that time, things were continuing to not go so well for General Motors, right? And at that time, the governor of Michigan said, General Motors was leaving product. They were going to no longer be building cars in Lansing. But he told them that if you build 2 new plants in Lansing, we'll build a new technical campus for you. And so they secured those 2 plants. And I was asked again, Annette, do you want to go into administration? And so that's when I went into administration. And I'll tell you, I love teaching. And I felt a little competitive to get the job as an administrator. But once I got it, I was like, oh my God, I have to teach. I have to teach at least one class. And I tried that for a while. And I found out that I could still make a difference in the lives of students through administration. It's not as fun as going into the classroom every day and impacting 20 or 25 lives, but it's still an opportunity to see that you make a difference. So that's how I got started. I had great success in Lansing and was then asked to come to Kentucky to lead and build a national center of excellence in advanced automotive manufacturing, which I did for 6 years after 17 years at Lansing as faculty and administration. And my chancellor told me when I got to Kentucky, he says, you're going back to school. And so I did, and they supported me getting my doctorate. And upon completing my doctorate, I got a call about Minnesota. And they said, well, they were interested in me being a president. And I'm like, am I really ready for that? But they encouraged me to go through the process. And here I am almost 12 years later.
I love it. I love it. I love it. And you've made so much impact in higher education in the lives of so many across the country. You know what? And I'll tell you, just in the excellence of your service, you have answered so many of the questions I already had prepared for you. So let me ask you this. Okay. There is a conversation, and I was just reading an article in Inside Higher Ed that was talking about this movement as we move into 2025 now of more integrations of technical education, workforce development into the profiles of many of our comprehensive community colleges. You have worked firsthand from GM all the way up to college president, served on so many boards around the country. Can you give us, those of us that are learning, those of us that are in this space, what advice do you have for us as we are now watching what seems to be a return to how higher education, I guess, had deeper integrations at one point in time of workforce development? Seems like that's the new future, but it may be the cycle repeating itself. What advice do you have for us as someone who's worked from workforce into community colleges, how we should be viewing this next season of higher education and these deep integrations of workforce education into the comprehensive community college model?
That's a great question. And what I always say here at South Central College is that we are the community's college. And that's something special. And you need to be representative of the community you serve. And whatever will make that community more sustainable, that creates citizens that's going to contribute to the regional economy, that's going to give back through community service and civic engagement in those communities. And I strongly believe that. My college, South Central College, started in 1946 as the first vocational technical institute in the state of Minnesota. So I think I was uniquely positioned that this was a good match for me. And it later in 2005 became a comprehensive college. And, you know, where I grew up, I say, Lansing Community College, Lansing was always a comprehensive community college. And I philosophically believe that that's important, that we think about ourselves comprehensively. We know through the reform in the 90s that vocational schools, technical schools merged with community colleges to begin to be more comprehensive and really have a mission that focuses on career and technical education, workforce and economic development, and transfer. And you need to be strong in all three. I'll never forget my first convocation, that's how I addressed South Central College, that we can do all three of our missions well, and you need to really focus on that. And to really focus on that workforce and career and technical education, you need to partner with the community and partner with your faculty and be listening to both to try to build those bridges so that we're building opportunity for our students to give back to the community, and to also make sure that they can have family sustaining wages, and feel secure and in their communities. And so that's what I think is really, really important. But you have to do that well. And as my research suggests, you need to have a shared vision. And so you really need to try to understand what everybody needs and how do you build those, what I call win-win-wins for everyone. The community, for the students, and for the institution. And so we work really hard to do that. And my experience in the private sector has helped me to understand how to have those conversations.
Absolutely, absolutely. You've fairly recently have announced that you're going to be retiring. You've had a very successful presidency. You have walked that institution through various eras and experiences. I'm curious to know, what are some of the moments that you're most proudest of throughout your tenure as president at that institution?
I'll give you a couple, okay? And one was, let me say, in 2017, when I convinced South Central College to join Achieving the Dream. And I'm most proud of how we handled that and how we built broad consensus to do the work, okay? And so we sent some of our faculty leaders. I know you know, for example, who are your leaders that you can approach about doing things at the institution that'll continue to have a dialogue with the rest of the faculty and the staff and move things forward, right? So I had those conversations in the hall, and I asked them to attend the Dream Conference, and they did. And we decided to join. And we went to our kickoff meeting at Achieving the Dream. And as you know, in my early years, we had a little bit of drama going on as a new president was coming in. And we talked about that. And they decided that they were ready to move forward, that they were ready to address that and focus on student success. Now, let me say that this is a great institution that has always had this really caring, compassionate community of students, okay? And because of our size, I mean, you know students by their names, and you can be kind of motherly to them at times, okay? And so, you know, to take that that expertise, that culture, and then elevate it was really, really important. And so what we did was we spent a year doing world cafes, talking about everything we needed to talk about. And when the coaches would come to visit, you had the pre-meeting with the president, the post-meeting with the president, and then a letter, right? Well, I would share the letter with the entire college community, good, bad, or indifferent. And I would tell them what I'm going to do about it. And then I'd follow through on what I said I would do. Okay. That began to build trust. And so after that year of planning, we had an all college in-service where we then voted on what were the things that we were going to do as a college in our Achieving the Dream venture. And everybody at the college voted. And I always say, I know they voted because I didn't give them a lunch ticket until they voted. Okay. And then we had a trusted faculty member and our vice president of research go off and count the votes during lunch and come back and tell the college what were the highest ranking things. We chose 8 things in 2 large buckets. One we called at the time holistic student services. And the faculty did not want to talk about guided learning pathways, but they would say career pathways or curricular pathways. I'm sorry. So we took those 2 things, which had 8 goals underneath them, and we set up 8 innovation teams of students, faculty, and staff. And we continued that culture of allowing those innovation teams to make decisions and for the administration to embrace those decisions. And it took a little culture shift over time because they were making decisions about even how many counselors or advisors to student ratio, that they really wanted to know that the administration support them. So we set up a monitoring team of administrative leaders to say, yep, keep going. And we followed through on all 8 of those innovations. And as a result, we became a hunger-free campus. We hired 2 social workers. We worked with telepsychiatry to make sure that even if a student needed a prescription, they could get that road. We set up what we called the Lifesaver program through our foundation, where within 24 hours you could get an emergency grant to do anything from getting you a new car battery so you could get to school or fixing an abscessed tooth.
Wow.
And then we also provided clothes, and we partnered with all of the 501c3s in the community and made that accessible to all the students through our counselors, but through other avenues of communicating with the students as well. And several other things. We lowered the advising to student ratio and really became the faculty, rather I call it proactive advising, so I'll call it that. And so then in, in 2021, we started seeing significant movement in our outcomes. And so I won't share all of them with you. I'll give you a couple of examples. We increased the African American success rate in gateway courses by 150%. We increased the Hispanic Hispanic students in gateway course English courses by 83%.
Wow.
And we started seeing significant movement. Now, I'm proud to say that this last year, we learned that we do not have an equity gap of Black African American students. We've got a little ways to go with our Latin students, but the work is never done. And what I'm most proud of is that I think we built the culture and the capacity here to keep going. And it's going to be fun to watch their numbers move
So
from a
much
distance.
transformative work. Yeah, from a distance. That's right. So much
Yes.
transformative work. I'm looking at the time. I'm going to do my best to squeeze three quick questions in here. Let me
Okay.
ask you this. As you think about your journey, is there
Yes.
anything that you wish someone would have told you? You wish it was some advice that if I would have known this or someone would have told me this, it may have saved me some time. It may have helped me be more effective. Anything come to mind?
You know, let me just say that I've had a lot of really great mentors. Um, you know, that's a really tough one for me to think about right now,
Mm.
because I think we all have challenges. We all, there's things that if we could look back and do it differently, we might do it slightly different. So I don't want to say that I don't make mistakes because I think we all do. But I've had good mentors and to tell me when I make mistakes. But now I'm thinking about one thing I would do, and I'll be quick with this. Is earlier is I really work with executive coaches with my administrative team,
Mm.
and we all try to understand each other's culture. I mean, our preferences, what we like, what we, we do the Myers-Briggs, we do the emotional quotient. And, I understand and respect that our differences because I think our differences make us strong.
Yes.
And it's important, I think, when we're in these offices that sometimes I learned that people will tell you what they think you want to hear and not what you need to hear. And creating that culture gets you further along. So if I could have done that earlier, I would have.
I love it. That's rich. That's rich. What advice do you have for those that are coming behind you? What advice do you have for the next generation of educators and college executives? What's some of the wisdom you would have for us, Doctor?
Well, the two things that have always been my motto is I'm going to do the right thing for students until I'm not here anymore. That's what I always say. And always tell the truth. You can repeat the truth every single time. And it's okay to tell people the truth even when there's challenges, because even like what I was saying earlier with the administrative team, if you don't do that, you're not looking at yourself from a 360 perspective, because people can always bring new ideas, new thoughts, and improvements if you give them the ability to do that. If you create the environment where they can share with you very honestly. And that's probably the hardest thing to do as leaders.
I love it. Okay, okay. Last question that I know that the watchers will be upset if I don't ask you this. What are your retirement plans? What's next for Dr. Annette Parker?
Well, uh, first of all, the most important thing for me is I've been in higher ed since 1990, so that's a long time.
Mhm.
Is time with my family.
Mhm.
Okay. Making a difference in the lives of students, that's my motto, has been my career. And in doing that with great passion, there's things that I have sent my husband to that I couldn't attend. And now it's time for me to attend some of those things. Okay, so that's first. A long nap is second. But then I think that from my background, which is, as we talked about earlier, I see it as a bunch of stackable credentials of my life experiences that make me who I am today. That I have something to contribute to the field in helping other presidents think about workforce development. How do you build strong partnerships, like I talked about, that really address the college being the community's college, and building up that strong connection that I can help presidents think about, and also help them think about where those landmines are. And so I plan to do a little bit of consulting, but I won't fail retirement, Dr. Mordecai. I've seen a lot of us do that because we're so committed to the work, but I won't.
I love that for you. I love and thank you for calling that out and thank you for making that a focus. As you know, the name of the show is Discovering Your Mission. I want to close out now. This has been rich. There's so many golden gems that you have given us on today. I love to ask the question, what is your personal mission statement and why? Of all of our guests, sometimes it's mottos, sometimes it's whatever manner in which you have that statement. I want to give you the opportunity to share that in your authenticity. What is your mission statement and why, Dr. Parker?
My mission is really to make a difference in the lives of students, one student at a time. Our moniker for that here at South Central College is just one more. That if each one of us is making a difference in just one more student's life daily, that we will truly make a difference for our nation. That we will build strong citizens that contribute from an economic perspective, but also civic-minded people that give back to the communities that they serve to live out the American dream. And so, I would just say it's making a difference for students, just one student at a time.
I love it. I love it. I love it. Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Annette Parker, president of South Central College. Thank you so much, Dr. Parker, for your time and your wisdom shared.
But thank you, and thank you for being able to share. And I look forward to seeing you at one of the conferences that I'm sure we'll both be at soon.
Yes, ma'am. Take care.
What an incredible conversation with Dr. Annette Parker. Here are 3 powerful takeaways from our interview that I hope stay with you long after this episode. First, leadership rooted in community can transform institutions. Dr. Parker reminded us when colleges truly serve as the community's college, we build pathways to prosperity, equity, and civic engagement. Second, doing the right thing for students consistently, honestly, and courageously must remain our guiding light. Her commitment to building trust, transparency, and shared vision was a masterclass in mission-driven leadership. And third, legacy is not just about what we build, but who we empower. From emergency grants to equity gains and student success, Dr. Parker leaves a legacy of compassion, innovation, and transformative change. Dr. Parker, thank you for your candor, your leadership, and reminding us that making a difference in just one more student's life can change the world. To our listeners, our watchers, if today's conversation moved you in any way, inspired you, or got you thinking about your own mission, please take a moment to subscribe, leave a review, and share this episode with someone who needs to hear it and see it. And of course, for more inspirational content, head over to itsdrmordecai.com. Until next time, keep discovering your mission and never stop walking in your purpose. Take care.